It was a scorching Thursday evening in Houston when the first crack appeared in the facade of my perfect life. Victoria had promised to be home by 7 p.m. for our monthly steak night, a tradition we'd kept alive since our early dating days. Grilling ribeyes on the back patio of our River Oaks mansion, sipping bourbon under the Texas stars. But 8:30 came and went, and the grill sat cold, the marinated steaks untouched in the fridge. No call, no text. Just the hum of the pool filter and the distant drone of traffic on Westheimer Road. I checked my phone for the 5th time. That familiar twist in my gut, starting as mild irritation, but quickly morphing into something sharper, more insistent. I'm Jack Harlan, 42. Senior petroleum geologist at Apex Energy, one of the big players in the Houston energy corridor. I spend my days poring over seismic data, mapping underground reservoirs that could make or break fortunes in the Permian Basin. They call me the rock whisperer around the office, jokingly. Of course, but there's truth in it. I see patterns in the earth that others miss, fractures and faults that reveal hidden treasures or potential disasters. After 15 years in the field, I've learned that nothing stays buried forever. Not oil, not secrets. Victoria and I had been married for 12 years, a match that turned heads from the start. She was Victoria Beaumont before she became Harlan. Daughter of old Texas Oil, money her daddy, Harlan Beaumont. Struck it big in the Eagle Ford Shale back in the 80s, building an empire that funded her debutante balls and European vacations. Me? I came from humbler stock, a roughneck son from Odessa who clawed his way through Texas A&M on scholarships and sheer grit. We met at a charity gala for the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, her in a shimmering red gown, me in my best rented tux. She said my West Texas drawl reminded her of home. I said her smile could light up a rig site at midnight. It was whirlwind engaged in 6 months, married in a lavish ceremony at her family's ranch outside Austin. No one saw the fractures coming, least of all me. We'd built a life that screamed American dream, the 6,000 square foot home with marble counters and a home theater. The his and hers Mercedes in the garage, our daughter Lily, 14 now, excelling at her private school in Memorial. Victoria had traded her trust fund lifestyle for a role as a consultant in the family business Monland and Energy, scouting properties for potential drilling leases. It kept her busy with networking events and trips to Austin or Dallas, rubbing elbows with the elite. Lately, those trips had multiplied, always under the guise of girls' weekends or site visits. I'd nod, kiss her goodbye, and bury myself in work, ignoring the way our conversations had shrunk to logistics. Who was picking up Lily from soccer practice? What time the housekeeper was coming? That night, as the clock hit 9:15, my phone buzzed. A text, stuck in Austin traffic after a late meeting. Girls' night ran long. Home tomorrow. Kiss Lily for me. I stared at it, the words feeling off, like a seismic reading that didn't match the core samples. Austin was a 3-hour drive. If she'd left at a reasonable hour, she'd be home by now. And on steak night? I called her, but it went straight to voicemail, her sultry voice purring. This is Victoria Harlan. Leave a message, darlin'. I poured myself a bourbon, neat, and paced the kitchen. The house felt too big, too empty. Lily was upstairs, buried in homework, her earbuds blasting whatever pop star was hot this week. I didn't want to alarm her, so I kept it light when I poked my head in. Mom's running late, kiddo. Pizza instead. She rolled her eyes but smiled our inside joke about Victoria's aversion to common food, but sleep didn't come easy that night. I tossed in our California King, the Egyptian cotton sheets cool where her body should have been. Memories flooded in, our honeymoon in Cabo, skinny dipping in the Sea of Cortez. The day Lily was born, Victoria's hand crushing mine as she pushed through 18 hours of labor. The way she'd surprise me at the office with lunch from Pappas Brothers Steakhouse. Where had that woman gone? Lately, it was all rushed pecks on the cheek. Her phone glued to her hand, those hushed calls she'd take on the veranda, laughing in a way that used to be reserved for me bright. Musical, full of promise. By morning, the doubt had solidified. Victoria breezed in at 10 a.m., her Louis Vuitton weekender slung over her shoulder, smelling of hotel shampoo and something sharper like men's cologne mixed with citrus. Traffic was a nightmare, she said, air kissing my cheek. The girls and I hit up that new spa in Austin Total Recharge. Her hair was tousled just so, her makeup flawless, but her eyes darted away when I asked about the meeting. Oh, just scouting some land for Daddy's firm. Nothing exciting. I nodded, playing the dutiful husband, but inside, the geologist in me was already drilling. Patterns don't lie. Her girls' trips had spiked 6 months ago, right around the time Apex started eyeing a massive lease in the Permian confidential data I'd brought home to review. Coincidentally, Beaumont's rivals at Lone Star Petroleum had snapped up adjacent parcels, outbidding us by razor-thin margins. I'd chalked it up to bad luck, but now, I wondered. That afternoon, while Victoria was at a yoga class, I logged into our shared iCloud, something we'd set up years ago for family photos and calendars. Practical, efficient, like us. Or so I thought. Her texts were backed up, and what I found hit like a blowout preventer failure. Messages from Travis M. Stravis Montgomery, Executive VP at Lone Star. The slick-talking bastard who'd shaken my hand at industry mixers, complimenting my work while eyeing Victoria like she was prime acreage. Miss your touch already. That hotel bed felt empty without you. Sent at 2 a.m. last night. Can't wait for Dallas. We'll have it all penthouse, no more sneaking. Her reply, soon, baby. Just need to wrap things up with Jack. The data you got me, seal the deal on that lease. Data. My blood ran cold. Scrolling back, it was worse. Encrypted emails forwarded from my work laptop seismic reports. Reserve estimates, bidding strategies. She was leaking Apex intel to him for kickbacks, funneling the profits into a joint account they planned to use for their new life. Hotel receipts from the Driscoll in Austin. Dinners at Uchi charged to business expenses. They weren't just screwing around. They were screwing me over, plotting to drain our assets, divorce me, and vanish into Dallas high society with Lily as leverage, or worse, collateral. I didn't rage, didn't smash the laptop. Instead, I opened a new spreadsheet, my weapon of choice. Headers, date, message content, leaked data, financial impact. I cataloged it all, cross-referencing with Apex's internal logs. The husband in me wanted to confront her, but the geologist knew better. Gather core samples first, map the fault lines, then strike where it hurts. Over the next weeks, I played the perfect husband. Breakfast in bed, Eggs Benedict with fresh salsa, her favorite. Surprise flowers from the florist on Kirby Drive long-stemmed roses, red as Texas clay. What's gotten into you? She asked one morning, sipping coffee in her silk robe, suspicion flickering in her green eyes. Just remembering how lucky I am, I said, kissing her forehead. She relaxed, but I noted the microtells, the way her fingers tightened on the mug. The extra blink when I mentioned work. Heard Lone Star's pushing that new merger. Travis must be swamped. Pause, too long. Yeah, probably. Daddy mentioned something about it. Lie. Her father, old Harlan hated Lone Star, called them carpetbaggers in the oil game. Meanwhile, I dug deeper, using Apex's secure network under the guise of a risk assessment. I traced the leaks, IP addresses matching our home Wi-Fi, timestamps aligning with her late nights. The embezzlement was slick kickbacks disguised as consulting fees to a shell company in her name, Beaumont Ventures. Over $500,000 siphoned. Enough to buy that Dallas penthouse they dreamed of. But I needed an ally. Travis's business partner at Lone Star was Alina Vasquez, a sharp-eyed CFO who'd risen from barrio roots in San Antonio. Rumors swirled she'd suspected fraud stock dips that didn't add up, expenses ballooning. I reached out anonymously via a burner email regarding irregularities at Lone Star. Mutual interest. Attached a teaser, one redacted email showing a leaked bid. We met at a dive bar in Montrose, neutral ground. Alina arrived in jeans and a blazer, her dark hair pulled back. No nonsense. "You're Harlan," she said, skipping pleasantries. "Victoria's husband." "This better not be some jealous bullshit." "It's not," I replied, sliding a folder across the scarred table. "It's corporate espionage and fraud. Your partner's using my wife to steal Apex data, pocketing the gains." She flipped through, her expression hardening. "Son of a bitch. I've been auditing his department's missing receipts, ghost vendors. But this ties it to Beaumont leaks." She looked up, eyes like drill bits. "What's your play?" "Justice. Anonymous tip to the Texas Railroad Commission. Let them unravel it. But I need your internals account logs to make it airtight." She nodded. "Deal. They think they're untouchable Load Boys Club. Let's bury them." Over coffee that turned to whiskey, we forged our pact. Alina had her own grudges. Travis had sidelined her for promotions. Whispered she was too aggressive for a woman in oil. By week's end, she delivered. Flash drive with Lone Star's books, showing the money trail to offshore accounts in the Caymans. Victoria noticed my late hours, but bought the excuse, "big project in the basin." I kept the facade. Even planning a family weekend at the Ranch Harlan Beaumont's sprawling 1,000-acre spread outside Austin, with longhorns grazing under live oaks. "Daddy's thrilled," she said, packing Lily's riding boots. But her phone buzzed constantly. Texts from T, merger vote Tuesday. Need that last report. At the ranch, I watched her, slipping away for calls, her laughter echoing from the barn. Lily and I rode trails, her teenage chatter of bombed complaints about school, dreams of vet school. "Mom seems distracted," she said once, reining in her mare. "Yeah, work stuff," I lied, hating it. But soon, it'd be over. Back in Houston, I compiled the dossier, spreadsheets, emails, bank transfers. Alina added her piece-proof Travis had manipulated Lone Star stock ahead of the merger with a bigger player. Insider trading on top of espionage. We anonymized it, routed through proxies, and fired it off to the Railroad Commission. Fraud alert, Lone Star Petroleum. Engaging in bid rigging and data theft from Apex Energy. The detonation came faster than expected. Monday morning, news hit. Commission raids Lone Star's offices downtown, feds in tow for the federal angles. Stock plunged 40% in hours. Merger scrapped. Travis was frog-marched out in cuffs, Victoria's name surfacing in warrant subpoenas for Beaumont records. She called me from her office, voice shaking. "Jack, oh God, they're here," accusing me of leaking data. "It's a mistake." "Calm down," I said, voice steady as a rig platform. "Get a lawyer. I'll pick up Lily." But I already had. Divorce papers drafted, citing infidelity and fraud. Emergency custody motion, backed by evidence of her instability texts, planning to take Lily to Dallas. Start fresh without him. The judge, a nonsense type from Harris County, granted it pending trial. When Victoria came home that night bailed out. Makeup streaked she found the papers on the kitchen island next to printouts of her messages. "You," she whispered, collapsing into a chair. "Me," I confirmed. "You were going to rob me blind, Vic? Take my daughter, my life." "It was Travis's idea," she sobbed. "He promised everything excitement, wealth beyond daddy's. Our life felt Stagnant. Stagnant. I echoed, after I'd built this with you? After Lily. Tears streamed. Please, Jack, for her sake. No, I said. For hers, this ends. The trials were spectacles. Houston Chronicle headlines screaming oil heiress in espionage scandal. Travis got 10 years federal for fraud, insider trading. Victoria, pleading coercion, still drew 5 judge, unmoved by her tears. Willing participant, he ruled. I got the ranch, full custody. Sold the mansion, moved Lily and me to the hill country rolling hills, Clear Springs. Started training rescue dogs, turning the barn into a kennel. Lily thrives, helping with pups, her laughter echoing like her mother's once did, but purer. Evenings, I sit on the porch, bourbon in hand, watching sunsets paint the oaks gold. No more fractures, just solid ground.